Hello and welcome. Today we're exploring two drawing softwares, Procreate and Concepts, two of the most popular sketching apps for creatives. So at first glance they might look similar. You draw, you sketch, you explore ideas, but once you start using them you realize they approach this design in completely different ways. So in this video I want to explore what each can do, how they fit into the designer's workflow, and why I often switch between the two depending on the stage of my process. And whether you're an architect, a designer, or an artist, or just someone who just loves to sketch, this comparison might be helpful to find which tool fits your way of thinking the best. Let's start with Procreate. I think that when it comes to drawing apps, it's probably one of the best ones out there. It comes in a very clean and simple UI, and when you open your app, you'll come with the open album of your drawings, and then you can create a new canvas for whatever kind of scale that you require. You can just taking a screen size of your iPad, and whenever you want to draw, in my opinion, is you want to have things as simple as possible with the minimum amount of distractions and only essential things that you need. So you have your scale size for your brush, your opacity, and then what Procreate does really well is to gives you a very wide range of brushes for kind of any kind of use case. And honestly, I think the quality of the brushes is something that really stands out. And when you draw, it becomes the drawings are incredibly smooth, which I think it's honestly always a really positive thing. And another thing that it comes when it comes to Procreate is the use of gestures. So if you draw a line, you can create a straight line by double tapping or holding, which is really great. And by double tapping with two fingers, it removes the line, goes backwards, essentially erases what you had just done as a kind of the first gesture. And another useful part of Procreate when it comes to drawing in any way is the use of layers. So you have a very good opportunity, a bit like similar to like Photoshop, to edit um, your layers as you draw, create different sections, which I think is honestly always very beneficial. And one, I think, example that it's great when you start doing these kind of drawings and exploring your designs is that you can be very creative. You don't necessarily need to stick to the standards of creating a realistic drawing for a concept of your building or whatever that you might be designing. You can start kind of creating a little bit of a feeling to it, and I think doing this in Procreate really is a great way. There's an opportunity to create these speed art drawings as well when you essentially create the process of your drawing. Procreate simultaneously creates a speed art drawing up of the drawing, so you don't need to edit things or have a separate software to download the process essentially. So now let's move over to Concepts. Concept, it's quite a different application to Procreate. It's less of a digital sketchbook and more of a design workspace. So as we can see, the menu is and the UI is a bit more complicated. When you open it, you have the traditional approach to your albums. Essentially, your drawings are broken down to different folders that you can kind of create and separate. And then you can essentially start your new drawing or go back to your already created drawing. And one big difference is that for Concepts, unlike Procreate, where you have a specific size of canvas, you have an infinite size canvas that you can keep scrolling and moving and creating other essentially drawings, which is where this becomes more of kind of a workspace. Another big difference is that when it comes to Concepts, every line that you create is based on vectors rather than pixels or rasterized drawings. it means that nothing is fixed. So you can select, size, rotate, and adjust anything you've drawn, and you don't necessarily need to yet worry about the size of the line in terms of pixels, because later when you export, that's when you can create the specific size of the drawing. Um, so for architects and designers, that kind of control is huge. You can draw freehand when you want to stay loose, or snap to guides and grids when you need precision. So the difference when it comes to Procreate, this software, you have a lot of kind of freedom in terms of the guides. So you have these precision tools that allow you to create specific grids for your background. At the same time, you can create and snap and measure depending on what you're drawing. So this allows you to draw things in much more detail and much more precision. So as you draw, you can see that it gives you the length of the line. So you can set up your workspace to a specific dimension, different specific scale, and you can then, with freedom of the workspace, draw with scale. So you're confident about your concepts, essentially less relaxed compared to Procreate. Um, so that's one of the, I think, great advantages. And I often use concepts for iterative sketches. So something like this, where you can start exploring early form finding, quick plans, diagrams, design studies, because it's also great and easy to use the opportunities of layers similar to Procreate, where you can add, say, an image as a background, or image like create your workspace of references, and then you can, as it is an infinite canvas, you can create as many sketches and copy and paste to duplicate um, and mirror as well. If you say, you can take the drawing, you can group it, duplicate it, scale it if you want to, or rotate it and start to remove components and redraw them if you want to. So that's I think a really kind of nice benefit. Another thing that comes with concepts is that if you say pay a paid subscription, you can have additional objects that you can use essentially with the app, which is very useful when you're drawing, like the name of the concept of the app. Your kind of conceptual ideas. You can add people, furniture, trees, and so on, which is very beneficial. And again, all these tools are vectors, so you can edit and change type of brushes or colors, and it will adapt to the type of input of the image that you create. After using both, what really stands out to me is how different the mindset feels between the two. Procreate is emotional, it's about expression, mood, and immediacy. And you sit down, grab a brush, and idea starts to flow. It's perfect for those moments when you just want to create, when you feel that the drawing matters more than the precision. You want to be very creative. And concepts, on the other hand, feels more analytical. It's about the structure, control, and refinement. You can also create beautiful drawings and have this kind of freedom, but it allows you to be much more precise, encourages you to think about how your ideas connect and evolve. You're not just sketching what something looks like, you're shaping how it could actually work. So in a way, they represent two sides of the same process, but Procreate helps me find the emotion of a design, the atmosphere, the story, and the tone, and concepts help me build the logic, the geometry, the relationships, and the proportions. I think that's the way they complement each other so well. It's not about choosing one over the other, it's about using them at the right stage of your workflow. I usually start concepts exploring form and layout, testing how parts fit together. Then I move to Procreate to add depth, tone, shadow, material, and that fleeting of atmosphere. Together they turn ideas into something that feels both thoughtful and alive. So for designers and architects, that's really what sketching is about, moving between freedom and control, between feeling and precision. And that's what makes these tools so powerful. They each unlock a different side of creativity. So, like I said, I don't think it's about choosing one or the other, even though I was doing essentially a comparison between the two. what you often find is that different tools give you different opportunities, and it's about how you take those opportunities and use them. So I hope you found this useful and interesting. If you'd like me to talk about or explore other softwares um, or other systems, then please comment below, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thank you.